Alright, the next map is called Railway. Alright, Railway. I have a love-hate relationship with this map. And you will see why in a bit.
Drive safely.
So they're prompting you to get in. They know, you know what you've got to do. Controls are simple. In fact, there are not really any controls. You could just head off. You can begin going, and I thought you could maybe go in there. I can't remember if you can or not. But it's, again, a fairly simple concept. You stop here. Actually, I'll put the parking brake on. And you have to open up the gate so you can get through and continue on your journey. Simple lock on the door. Why is it done that? It's done that because it kind of gives the player something to do. Instead of the player just walking through a door, opening the door, he's got to think about it. The player has to think about it. Right. And then you can continue on your way again. I like that concept. This concept is decent. And it gets slightly better. Because then it starts throwing enemies in that you actually need to take on. And I guess you can stop there and look about there. I won't. I'll just keep going. Now this bit's actually really good because it's now got you on a loop. So I will just keep going round and round and round in circles forever until I go up to that area over there and change that. You know when it turns the corner? Okay, we don't actually have any guns. They've probably done that deliberately. Anyway, I'll stop it in a moment. Next time round, I'll stop it. Alright, so again, we've got this kind of something to do. Instead of just driving and shooting, we've got a bit of a challenge. So we had these the turrets that we could take out. Here it shows you what you've done basically. So we can now get back in this thing. Hang on, I'm just gonna get that thing, and we can continue on. So it's so far it's good. I mean, there could be more of a challenge when trying to. Yeah, incidentally, I could stop back there and have a look at it, but I'm not going to, just so we can speed this up. If you're the creator of any of these maps and I am missing out cool stuff, it's just because I don't have all that much time at the moment, and I'm really focusing on the core gameplay. So it's good that you've got stuff to explore. In fact, that's excellent. Like, if this was just a linear path of going on a train, I wouldn't like it as much, but the fact that that's been added is excellent. But you know, if you want to go and see it, and you can play this map yourself, if you can download the FusionVille from runfixshootlive.com. Anyway. Again, we've got a bit more of a challenge. We've got to fight, well, we fought the blackhead crab zombie, that normal zombie. There's boards over the door again, just to force the player to interact with the map. And we're over here, we're over the other side now. We can push the button, we see what it does that, and on the way back, something is going to happen. So we're now backtracking here. I don't know if that's actually deliberate, if that was like one of the free themes that this mapper picked. Actually, I think putting in the mana hacks first would have been better. Alright, I thought they were all going to... Yeah, so if you heard the mana hacks, you'd know that there's something up, and then you walk outside, and they're all... Yeah, they're all there. Incidentally, I think there's some combines still waiting in there for you. Yeah, that doesn't matter. So now we've got shown that these guys can, you know, shoot down these gunships, and we're getting given an RPG and being told to taking the cliff path. And this means we can open it up. Again, the biggest challenge for that was the fact that there was a ladder. Now we've got to, I guess, jump round. Instead of just walking back up, it actually gives you something to do, something to think about. And they've miraculously managed to attach these things on. So now we can continue on. So that's what we're going to do. Now, the thing is, I don't know if we actually need to fight this battle, or if we just keep going. Because the first time I played this... Oh, there he is. He didn't follow. You know, he's not following, he's just staying there. So we'll keep going. I mean, that's a bit confusing. If that was an ongoing battle that you had to take part in, then that would be better. Or if it was chasing you, that would also be good. But this is very confusing. Okay, so we now know that we can't progress with this thing. We have to... Okay, I don't remember this guy. Yeah, we have to basically go this way. So we're just going to run away from him. We're going to open the door. Okay, 2 doors to open. Ah yeah, now this bit. It introduces a sniper. Now this whole bit seems a bit strange, because after that kind of the driving thing, it takes like a completely different, you know, I guess direction in terms of gameplay. It's not bad, but it's very different and not always good. So that was just something else to do. We can actually look outside it, where we're going to be. This room is one of the worst, most daftest rooms I have ever seen in any mapping challenge. Watch this. You can't escape from that. You cannot escape from that. Instantly, you can beat it. But then it just becomes annoying because these manhacks then spawn in the room. This combat's actually really good because it's from a distance. Like, these guys are up high, it gives verticality. It is a bit of a shame that that guy's like charging you down. But that's by the by. That wasn't a bad combat encounter, albeit they were facing you, but it's still fairly good. And we can... Now, 3 hunters chasing the player is slightly hectic. I wouldn't say it's fun, especially not if you're playing on hard mode. It's... you know, really difficult, but at the moment, we can easily take it down. There's also this thing here, an Easter egg. You can check all this stuff out eventually. So we see these wires, they're very clear. We've got to get in there. We can see a button. That's currently, I think, our main goal, and we can't pass that. So there's a few ways we can do this. I think the way I did it the first time was make it up there, make it up here, make it up here. I mean, you can just climb up the boxes, and I think you can break that. And that should stop the steam. Yeah, so you can now walk in here and make sure he is fine, because that's the most annoying noise in the world. We could have also just pushed that button and found another way out, but we can clearly see that door's now open. It's very clear. Well, that's what happens. If I can get through this door. This next bit's not bad. It all leads up to like a massive battle where everything just happens at once, and it's not very good. But now we've seen that there is a sniper, and it was taught through this. You know, it's teaching you that this sniper's deadly, and you're probably just gonna have to leg it across here. So that's what we're gonna do. This next thing I've not actually seen in this form, where you can actually create a defense or move kind of a window shutter to be a defense over there where you're trying to, I guess, reconnect. This thing, I mean, it's kind of ideal, but then we can jump back. We can still hear the manhacks in that troll room. So now we've connected it, we can begin our radio transmission broadcast. I don't know what it is, I can't even remember.
Forest, identify yourself.
Alright, so that was probably the lag of like 1,000 scripts. So we could easily have set up. I didn't really remember. Well, actually, I did. I just don't know if I'm going to finish this battle or not. Because it is long and quite boring, and I don't think it's useful to see it all happen. Like, me, you know, finishing it isn't, I guess, useful. Yeah, just get out. So yeah, this is just one massive defend section. It's not really well balanced at all. But yeah, this is basically it. There's nothing new. Like, there are hunters that come and other stuff. So, just for the sake of the video, I'm going to stop it here. The start of that map was really, really good with the train, the rail, obviously. That idea was really good, and it was good that there was these challenges outside combat that were to, like, unlock the gates. The gunship fight should have probably been a bit more, you know, the player should have been made to interact with the gunship and take it down. The second map, the idea with the trying to block the sniper off was good, but the rest of it wasn't as good. And that battle at the end, which goes on quite a bit, doesn't need as many enemies and could be over much quicker. But I get what the map was trying to do. So now we're on this map. Alright, I'm just trying to remember this map. I actually can't remember what happened. I think you could go upstairs, but there wasn't anything to do. There's probably some Easter egg in this room. With, like, if you, like, tap a certain part of the wall, then something happens. I don't know, you can go and find out for yourself. Yeah, I kind of remember this one. This one was a bit strange because it introduces this kind of mechanic with, you know, you've got to find I think it's a battery or something like that, or yeah, these data packet things, and sorry, and you know, light them up, power the teleporter. And I think that takes a while to to happen. Okay, this guy's getting away from me, right. And then it teleports you, obviously this is like, teleportation is one of the themes for this map. And it'd be good if you got the gravity gun right now, because then you could use that, but you can't. So then it follows the same pattern of what happened before. Obviously there's like the combat here. And I've said it before in a lot of the maps, and I'll say it again, and you're probably getting sick of it now, but don't just have Combine soldiers or Metro cops just like standing in a room waiting for you. Have them doing something. That one of them could have been working on this console, you could have opened the door, maybe given it like 2 or 3 seconds before he turned around, but yeah, we can see that that one has one, but that one doesn't, so we need to be looking for a blue data packet, or whatever it was. So yeah, you can actually look in here and you can see kind of a blue glow. See, you kind of know what's coming up. Right. So it's all, again, fairly simplistic, but the good thing is that it's kind of hidden, but you can still see it, so it's... yeah, the player kind of has to interact with the map to get it. And then we can take this back to one of the things. Now, I actually got stuck on this map the first time I played. I wasn't quite sure if I had done anything wrong or what was going on. Yeah, the thing I was unsure about was this teleport actually going to work? Actually, I can't remember what was up there. I don't even know if I checked. But yeah, there's no proper form of progression. I mean, I could go and check up there and we'll see. Okay, so I cheated to get up. I spent a bit of time looking around and I couldn't find anything. Again, to the mapper, don't be offended by that. It's just because I am trying to work through this at a good pace. And there wasn't really any clear solution. The solution was that I should have walked into the teleporter and it should have taken me somewhere. And I tried everything with that green thing. Right. So we've got a bit of toxic jumping. Now, without a gravity gun, doing this kind of stuff is super difficult. It almost feels like there should be a gravity gun and there should be boxes and these kind of spool things that you can jump across. Because at the moment what I'm doing is I'm just like running and losing a little bit of health. It doesn't make me feel like I'm, you know, smart about it. It doesn't make any player feel like they're doing anything. It just makes them feel like they are just gung-hoing it. So yeah, include the gravity gun, because, you know, the whole engine is, you know, physics-based. It was one of the major forerunners in video game physics, Half-Life 2. And it just makes it so much better. Now, here we see a Combine a soldier going past. He doesn't shoot you. Well, until now. But it kind of foreshadows that that's what's happening. I don't know if you can get in here. No, you can't. So, once again we're presented with a teleporter, we're presented with a thing. Which we can pick up and... I think we take it over here. Yeah. And then there's like this defense section. Oh, missed him. Which, this isn't a bad... You know, badly paced. I've seen like really bad ones where it just throws in like 10 soldiers at the same time. And then we can stand in the teleporter. And I think that's it. Oh, well, it has like this bit at the end. Alright, so overall, that map could have had much better direction in terms of where the player should go, what the player should be doing, you know, anything like that. Especially that puzzle where you put the thing in and it doesn't work. But overall, I mean, I could see what the mapper was trying to achieve, but it just needs a bit of, you know, tidying up in terms of gameplay. Now we're on Choice Machine. Yeah, this one... I'm not sure about this one, I'm not going to lie. It's the idea, or idea, if you want me to not pronounce it with an R, although, you know, where I come from, you know, my dialect, you know, we add R's to everything. No, not everything. But, yeah, the idea of this whole project, I can see where it was going, but it wasn't executed very well. You know, like the beginning, I don't quite understand that. Like, I thought this was going to be one of these weird abstract maps that was actually like a story-based map. but it then led us to... Well, yeah. It had like 1 or 2 puzzles to start off with. It then gives us a ton of choices to pick, so... I can't quite remember. So yeah, we can pick one, and that goes up, right? So we can pick Toxic, Teleport, and so I get that now. I get that. Now, this one is different from the one I picked before, I think. The one I picked before was interesting. I have no idea what I'm doing. It looks like one of those parts of like Mirror's Edge when you're... I think it's a jackknife levels. That's what this area reminds me of, and there's like a sniper. That could very well be the inspiration for this. Do we have to jump? I'll tell you what though, Philip wouldn't like this. I wouldn't like it either. Because the one I had before I think was Teleport. I can't remember what it was, but there was actually like zombies and toxic stuff. And then we climbed in some boats. And then something else happened. I'm just trying to work out how this was all made, like how it would be done. I mean, I guess that's easy, and I'm just over thinking about it. Yeah, this was similar to the place I was at before. In fact, it was right over there I ended up. Like, yeah, I crossed over there. Went along there, tried to open that door. It was a bit confusing. I don't know what's going on. So I guess it's like, if it's like, it like combines 2 of them and joins one on at the end, perhaps? I mean, it was a noble thing to try, certainly, but it just needs more work and probably shouldn't have tried to be done in, you know, in mapping challenge. And at the moment I have no idea what I'm doing, because obviously this is like the first time I played this one. I'm going to jump across because it makes me feel like I'm faster. Oh. So does it always end up at the same place? Is that the thing? So what was the point in opening them? That's what I don't get. So the whole idea was that you go over to that big button, and it's very clearly a button, and open up this thing here. And then that was it. It's just because I approached it from a different angle the last time. It was super confusing. It was one of these maps that tried something new. There may be something there, but it wasn't quite there yet. Alright, so the next entry is called Drainage.
Hey, can you figure out a way to get this gate open?
Okay, so this was one of the better entries. It wasn't bad at all. So we're on a bridge over toxic goo in a chasm. So I think I can predict what the themes are here. So there's a couple of things to notice when you're walking down this tunnel. You can notice there's a vent, zombie bashing on a gate, and there's the vent there, and a room which I automatically presumed was locked, but it's not. I thought so because I thought like the vent would lead here, so I was like looking around everywhere. I didn't even try that door. That was a presumption I made. A wrong presumption. Incidentally, you can also open the door straight away. I will go around here. And you can like nab the shotgun. Sorry, yeah, that's how you do it. So the aim is pretty simple. Find Alex. That was the aim from the start. That is super clear that that's the aim. There's no confusion. And yeah, so there's stuff to find. Yeah, I think I know what that does. That will soon become active. So here we see there's a door that's blocked, and you can pick up the gravity gun. So, and then move it. So it's kind of like a small teaching mechanic tutorial thing. That's kind of, it ensures you get given the gravity gun. Right, so here we go. We've got one of these things which I'll only hit once. Oh, we're being shot by this guy. And we can now see we have control of the gate. So right off we will open it up. We can see opening. And we can see Alex waiting there for us. Waiting very patiently. And we need to make our way back there, so it's one of these simple things. Actually, yeah, I have a nasty habit of spamming these things because it, you know, at the start, when I first started playing Half-Life, it gave me the impression that I would do it faster, like I'd actually get the item faster. But that's probably not the case. Like if I went like that, I'd get given the item much quicker. So that's why I do it, just in case you notice it. Alright, incidentally, we can push that button and then these things will fall. It's a neat little thing, albeit it seems a little bit too set up, if you know what I mean. But hey ho, it's something fun that the player can do. So now it's leading us on a different path. So it could have also been a backtrack section, I guess. Maybe not. Now we've got the toxic part. Which, this is quite cool, you can actually control this through physics. This is the sort of stuff that should be done a lot more in maps, but isn't. So we'll just let him take himself out. Then I think there's something up here. Maybe that was a different map. And we're actually fighting 2 gunships at the moment, which seems like an awful lot, but it's such a confined space. It doesn't matter too much. I mean, it is super easy, especially especially around this small space. Then we can jump onto this thing here, which is difficult to get on, I'm not going to lie. In fact, this whole place, just trying to maneuver it is difficult. There we go, made it that time. And we're back, and here is Alex. We have finished it. So overall, that was actually a fairly decent map. The combat could have been slightly cleaned up, but otherwise it was fine. So we are now on questionable sewers. So this is a looping part. You can clearly see that there are, or you can kind of see it, that there are flammable barrels or whatever you want to call them, and you can clearly see that you need a valve to open this to progress. So it's super simple, and the player can easily work out what they have to do. So, I don't think there was anything down there, maybe like a few extras. So here we go, we have the valve. You know, that was super simple. And then we let ourselves through. And I know a few mappers who have these kind of looping parts at the very start of their map, so it just kind of breaks the player into it, giving them something to achieve before all of the action happens. Now I've got ahead of myself here, because what we need to do is we need to go across here and onto here. So this, yeah, you can see that the door has been blocked, but there is a gap, but you don't have the gravity gun. Yeah, that was right. So I'm just trying to remember. So it was super simple. it was it's kind of just a sidetracky thing for you to do, but it still makes it not as easy, and you know, allows for thought and, you know, how do I solve this puzzle? Ah, right, that's right. Also, it's got a screen up here so you can view what is happening up there. And now we can get on up. And I think that was all that was round here. Yeah. Again, boards blocking up a door, just as I've explained a lot of times, for interaction. What was next? Sorry, I'll keep the... I know I've not had the flashlight on. I know you'll all get mad at me. No doubt it'll be the end of the world because I haven't had my flashlight on. But that's by the by, right. Now here it very clearly tells you need to throw a grenade in. I can't think of many other ways to show this. It's slightly patronising having that there. Oh, lagged a bit for some reason. And then we have to do it again now. It's slightly different. We need to do it again. Okay. Actually, we don't need to do it again. There we go. So next we have a kind of defense type part. I guess this is the defense where you have to fight these guys. It's not particularly difficult. You see, it's not challenging, or it's not like over challenging. It is still quite challenging. And actually what we can just do is, we could just use alt fire on this thing. There we go. And I think this is, yeah. That does that. You can jump in the teleporter. That was questionable sewers. And that map played it quite safe. It didn't like introduce anything over the top. Overall it wasn't bad at all. It was definitely in the top half of maps. It could have had a lot more intense situations, if you know what I mean. It didn't really have that oomph that a lot of maps have, which is difficult to do in like the time frame for this tournament, this competition. Even though even if it was longer, it was still a limited time. So a lot of the time, people just want to polish their kind of simplistic maps, and that's fine. That's fine. So that was a fairly stable entry. Now we're on Tectonic. This entry was one of the most interesting, I would say. It had a good premise to it, and I'll talk more about it in a moment. But you can like look around. I don't think you can go up here. I think that's where we were supposed to have come from. Yeah. But it's got like this chopper whom you can run away from. It's got this guy who we're chasing right now. I'm just getting this first bit, you know, out the way. It's, you know, you're supposed to just like walk along and have a look, and then this happens, which I think is very interesting. Okay, there we go. That bit is really cool. It's just a visual thing, and it's to make you kind of look up and notice that what's happened, and obviously that car dropped as well. That's actually like really smart. So the premise is that there's been an earthquake and you've fallen underground, just like a street or something, but still the damage is huge. So you can also see like the ending part over there, but first you need to kind of navigate, and the cool thing is that you get like these buried buildings and stuff like that. You've also got this kind of crazy music. Well, when I say crazy, it's kind of mysterious. I like it. I don't know if it fits, you know, quite fits with the map, but it's always good to hear different music. And yeah, as I said, it's really cool how it's like a building that's just fallen underground. And obviously this just gives you kind of a bit of, you know, stuff to find. But you're using all these things to kind of scale over it, and then you've got to use this pylon, which is pretty cool. To kind of, you're like using the stuff that's fallen through to navigate through it. So now we get into this cave. I'm just going to toss that there. And we're just going to try and run away and hope the antlions don't bother us too much. I think that's what we had to do. And then I think this is like possibly a normal building that hasn't collapsed, I think. Possibly. And instead of just like making you just like run straight up to the goodies, it actually makes you get them through this fence if I needed them. Okay, so this thing has powered the lift. You try and call it. And the battle begins. Notice how you haven't really been given very much. You have been given the crowbar so you can melee the attackers. But what I want to do is I want to use this, and it does give you plenty of stuff you can throw at these guys. So we're just going to take them all down like so. And they kind of take care of themselves. And the lift should almost be here. Do you know what's happening with the walls there? And obviously the alarm rings to tell you that, you know, it's down, in case you're still fighting at that point. Just things to find. I actually quite like this kind of atmosphere and the way this has been set up. I mean, it's not exactly like... Yeah, I was going to say it's not exactly the best, you know, the best looking map, but it doesn't really need to be, and that's the thing. Like, as I've said it before in one of my recent videos, that your maps can be fairly plain. You don't have to spend ages on them. You just need to make it feel authentic, and this certainly feels authentic as kind of in the area it's supposed to be. We'll just take these guys down. I think they were probably we were probably supposed to wait, but I just pushed on. All right, there we go. Because we're now in like a car parking lot, which I really like that kind of environment, and if done properly, it's actually it can actually have like a lot of atmosphere, and this does, you know, it's really good. So it's like an underground parking lot, and obviously this thing's in the middle of it. Now, this fight's a bit more interesting than just an average shoot the gunship until it's dead. Okay, so we got it, but then he flies off, and then we get attacked by some of these guys. These guys are annoying. That's fine. Actually, we didn't really explore the parking lot. I was wanting to, but then I fell by accident. But there's actually a place where you can gather up more, you know, supplies, more rockets. And it's not like right next to the bottom, basically. You've got to kind of fly. So we've got 3, so we can last a few more waves. So it looks like, yeah, this guy doesn't, the gunship doesn't come around until, like, he goes by himself. Oh, you got that one? I got both of them, right. Time to head back to the not the surface, the second floor. Hopefully we will have better luck next time. Now, can we get down there? It doesn't look like we can actually get down. So it's making you travel for your... Okay, so we got him again. And then this time it sends down some of these soldiers. And then I think it sends the gunship again for another run, which we've got to be careful here. There we go, we got it. And he flies all about the place. I think he's probably going to crash here, so I'm going to move. And it's cool how you can kind of see the whole, you know, the entire chasm. So I really liked that map. Like the premise to that about it falling into the ground. It was very similar to like Fallout, when you're like in the glowing sea and there's like underground car parks and stuff like that. And then while you're at the very bottom, it just felt very isolated and all that. So actually, I really liked that, and the gameplay was good, and it had like a chasm in it. It had that defense section. It had a lot of things in there. So that was one I really liked.